1.
Hi Sherry, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I know you came by and you're interested in lesson on chipping.
I am.
So there's a couple questions I'd like to ask you before we get started, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
How long have you been playing golf?
I think this is either my 4th or 5th year.
Okay.
It's my
So 5 years. And just so you know, and I just like to tell my students that basically for the first 5 years you are actually a beginner, and there's nothing wrong about it. Just because you don't practice a lot and all the stuff that's needed to make your game better, quicker, so to say.
That's fine. I believe that.
Okay. Couple things. Any injuries that I should know about?
Nope. I'm good.
No. What do you do for work?
I'm a teacher, and up until this year, I drove the beverage cart on a golf course, so I played a lot of golf after I was done working.
Okay. So did you practice a lot or just play a lot?
Well, I would say
Be
I probably
honest.
played a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I just go out and hit balls on the course. I mean, I'd go up to the range once in a while, but not nearly as much as I know I should.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about if I asked you what type of learner you were? Are you a visual, auditory, kinesthetic?
A
little bit of each?
I think I'm definitely a lot of all of it. The visuals, like looking at something definitely is very helpful for me, but then also like somebody walking me through it. So I love to see it first and then hear and move through the motions as somebody's talking to me and like kind of correcting me.
Okay, good. So mainly visual.
Yeah.
And I know this is kind of a weird question, but if I asked you how your closet was organized, is it organized by colors or is it just, some shirts here, some shirts there?
Yeah, so I would say that it starts out really organized, but then everything gets a mess. So it gets reorganized maybe twice or 3 times a year, but there's not really any system that works for me.
Okay, that's all right. I know I talked to you before about warming up, and you did all right. That's great. Just be careful, safety. There's nobody here, but I just want to bring it up to you. Just watch, where you walk and everything. What about your clubs? Have you been fitted properly for your clubs or not?
No, I just bought them. I had them ordered and they came standard and they feel like they fit fine, but I know that I probably should have them looked at.
Okay.
With me.
Yeah, I mean, a suggestion is if you're serious about golf, and it sounds like you are, because again, you work at the golf course and you're playing a lot. I would definitely look into getting your clubs fitted eventually,
Okay.
maybe next year or the end of the season.
Sure.
Because I'll just to give you a little bit about fitted clubs, it affects your posture,
Okay.
and basically everybody's arms are different lengths. So if you have short arms or long arms, you're going to need a different length club than standard, so to say. So it's just good to have. But these look great. I mean, they're graphite, which is great. There's Ladies Flex, which is great. They look relatively new. Would you get them as a demo set or?
No, I actually was demoing a set, but then had them ordered brand new. They're
Nice.
pretty much the same ones. They were comparable.
Yeah, so that's something that you can definitely think about getting checked going forward. But I mean, for right now, for chipping, and like if we continue lessons, we do with irons, we can look at it then. But it's kind of, with chipping, it's not really a big deal.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about chipping. What do you want to get out of this lesson, let's say?
I guess, like making sure that my feet are in the right position and that I'm lining up right and that I'm doing it consistently. Like doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, obviously when the lies are different, it has to change a little bit, but like I just know that like my foot position isn't always right. Like I watch other people do it and I try to mimic it and I know I'm not doing it right. So,
Okay.
just
So a lot of
getting
it's
it
set up.
very clear. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of setup. We'll go over that, and then we'll talk about setting goals.
Okay.
Definitely short-term goals. You want to make them obtainable. Long-term goals, obviously obtainable too. But if you came out here and said, I wanted to get 5 out of 5 balls in that circle, I'd be like, well, let's take it back a step, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So what I think I'll do first is just kind of go over the setup. I'd like to ask you, do you know what the definition of chipping is?
Well, I know it's a pretty short shot that's just off the green usually, right? I mean, it's not too far off the green, and it's a lot like it's somewhere between a regular stroke and a putting stroke, like closer to a putting stroke.
Okay, good. Yeah, so basically exactly what you said. It's right off the green. It is a low lofted shot, so it stays low and rolls a lot.
Okay.
A lot of people confuse it with pitch. Pitch goes high and just drops in soft. They are both part of your short game.
Yep.
They're both important parts of your short game.
Yeah.
Here, the shot isn't real big. I'd like to just say that it's about shin high.
And see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Because
that was
anytime, you get bigger, It's basically about shin high.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll go over that. So the first thing I'm going to have you do, I'm going to take a step back, is I'm going to actually have you grab a couple balls in your hand,
Okay.
and we're trying to get it in the circle, and I just want you just to toss it, just kind of like toss it, and just watch where the ball drops.
Okay, so I wonder if this makes a difference. I'm left-handed, but I golf right-handed. So do you
Okay.
want me to toss with my right hand or left hand?
Do you have coordination in your right?
I think so.
Okay, let's just try, let's do right.
Okay.
So just kind of toss it and just kind of watch where it drops and rolls. Okay, so it dropped right around
Yep.
there,
Yep.
okay, and it rolled a little bit far, so a little shorter. Try one more. And this is basically, you're just trying to see where that ball's dropping to get it to roll. That's okay. All right, good. So again, you can tell you don't need real big, not a real big toss to get it there. Okay.
Yep.
So now we'll go back to what I talked about before, and just talking about the setup. So I have two clubs here: a 7-iron and pitching wedge.
Yep.
Do you know the difference?
I know that the loft is different.
Yeah.
The pitching wedge is more, I don't know what the word is, severe, but
Right,
it's
more loft.
Yeah.
Okay,
More loft.
good. So it's more loft.
More loft.
The other difference, and it's not major, but it's just the length of the club.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So the 7-iron gets longer. It's also a little bit harder. And I just wanted to explain that to you, but you're exactly right. It's the loft. Okay. So the pitching wedge has a lot of loft. So I'm going to start with that club, and you can hold this one. And what club do you chip with when you chip normally?
Usually my pitching wedge, but
Okay.
I mess around once in a while with like my 9 sometimes, but I'm not
Okay.
really sure exactly why I do that.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
So what I did, Sherry, is I laid down a club using this as an alignment stick, lining myself up so this is lined up to the target. Okay. And again, the reason is I want to discipline myself when I practice. I want to make sure that everything is set up and I'm aiming correctly. And the more you are disciplined here, the better you'll be on the course.
Okay.
Okay. So I just lay that down, and you can just use a club. You can get alignment sticks. I mean, they're like $1.99, whatever. But I just grabbed the club here. Okay, your setup is relatively simple, and it kind of makes sense if you think about the size of the stroke. You don't need a big swing. We talked about that. So feet are nice and narrow. Okay. And I always start toe to toe or parallel.
Okay.
The ball position is slightly back of center. You can see it's just slightly inside towards my right foot, my back foot. Okay. Then what I do is I take my left foot and open it up. That's called open. I take it back. What does that do? That takes that left hip out of the way.
Okay.
And the reason is exactly what you said. It is a putting stroke, and a putting stroke is basically just a nice stroke. It's like a grandfather clock, just tick tock, back and forth. That's all it is. So by taking my left foot back, it just gets my hip out of the way, lets my shoulders rock back and forth easier.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's very similar to putting, except you have an iron in your hand. Okay. So narrow, take your left foot back. Stand slightly tall. Okay. We're not worried about posture here. And you can grip down on your club. You can choke down if you want. Your grip can be basically thumb on top of thumb, more like a putting grip. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you see all different types of things here. Grip is more important for your irons and your long game. All right. The other thing is angle that club forward towards that left thigh, just a little bit. Yeah. So I feel like my left hand is right underneath my shoulder. Yeah. And then all I'm gonna do is add a little weight on my left side. Little. Don't add too much. We don't want to get too extreme. Okay. And all that does is just to let you know that weight on that left side allows the club to come down and pop the ball up. Okay? We don't want to transfer our weight, meaning start with our weight forward and then shift it back, because then we're going to be swinging up.
Okay.
Okay? We want to keep that weight forward. And all it is, again, is if I take that nice triangle with my arms nice and long, and I just practice putting. Yeah. Back and forth, just like that grandfather clock. Yeah. And you can see the grass is really thick here. And we'll talk about clubs in a second on club selection, but depending on where your ball is, the lie of your ball depends on your club selection a lot of times. So, you might be back here in that thick grass, you might have to use a wedge.
Okay.
But we're going to start with a wedge like we talked about before, because it's just a little bit easier. And all I'm going to do is just putt. I'm going to get up there, get my good setup, angle my hands forward, and just putt. And you can see how it just kind of pops and rolls. I find this a hard stroke because of anxiety getting close to the green. kind of understanding what the clubs do and not dialing in so much on, you know, so to say, your actual stroke. Like, let's just, I mean, I don't want you to dial in on it, and the reason is, I want you to just feel comfortable.
Okay.
And again, just kind of work on just nice stroke and relaxing your hands.
Okay.
Tension. If tension's in your hands, Sherry, it goes into your arms and into your shoulders. So just relax. Okay. And it's definitely different when you're out playing. You're gonna get anxiety. So that's why, again, here we're just gonna practice the shot. So why don't we come on over here,
Okay.
get yourself set up, and switch clubs with you. And why don't you work on the setup first, do some practice strokes. And if you have any questions, just let me know. But it's all angles. Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would stand just maybe a little bit more taller. Yeah. Yeah. So you're more over it. And that's the same thing with putting. When you see putters, they're more over the ball with their eyes. Because when we get out here, and I'm not saying you will, but when we start to reach, we get handsy.
Okay.
Remember, putting is just, again, back and forth, no hands, one piece. Yeah. Good.
So I have a little question.
Sure.
Once I step my foot back, you know that you're saying that I'm opening up to get the hip out of the way.
Correct.
How does that not? Is it because I put my club down first that I'm still aiming in the right direction? I'm not aiming the direction of that my feet are pointing now because I'm not parallel anymore.
Correct. That's a great question. So your back foot, your right foot is your target foot.
Ah, gotcha.
So all that
Okay.
does, all this does is, again, opens up your hip,
Okay.
but it won't change, again, it won't change your alignment or your aim, because again, this is your back foot. That's why, again, you
Okay.
start parallel,
Yep.
and then, because that back foot is your target foot. Good
Gotcha.
question. Yep.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yep.
See, just something like putting the weight on my left foot, I didn't know that.
Okay. So let's just try not to put too much, though.
Okay.
Just a little, like 60-40, yeah. There you go. Good. And again, that weight forward and the ball back is going to make the club ground back. And you can see it. Yeah, see where the club's grounding?
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And when we talk about, you know, when we go into other lessons, we're going to be talking about transferring your weight. Here it just stays nice and forward.
Okay.
Good. Let's try a ball.
Okay.
Boy, this is thick. Okay.
Yeah. Footprints.
I know.
Practice swing.
Definitely. I like that. Try to get some type of routine going. And a practice swing is important. It's good. Do one more and just hold it. Hold it. Okay. So if I'm not with you, okay, see how this is nice? This left arm is extension of the club?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's your impact position.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's golf in general. If we do this and flip our wrist, we're breaking down.
Okay.
And that impact position changes because we start swinging up.
Right.
So if I'm not with you, you can always do a little check and just see if my left arm is extending to my club.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Awesome.
Good. Okay, so what you think?
It was okay, except for I didn't really follow through. Like
Okay.
I stopped after I hit the ball. I didn't.
Do you think you stopped, or do you think the grass was a little thick and stopped it?
Maybe the grass was thick, and I didn't think to continue to push through the grass.
Okay.
I could be sleeping.
And that's one thing that, you know, it's just like, again, going back to any shot, you know, whatever you go back, you want to try to go forward.
Right.
Right. And again, that's tension.
Yeah. And it's also, I get to still be a beginner, which I really like because I still do that in the sand too. My club hits the sand
Sand.
and I just stop rather than pushing it
Okay.
forward. I know that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So what I'd like to see, again, a little bit more upright with the club of the angle, like
Okay.
set it down. There you go. Good. Yeah, just be careful of your football position. It's getting too far back. Move your feet a little this way. Yeah.
Oh,
It's back of center, but we don't want to get on the outside of that foot.
got it.
Good. That was good. What'd you think of that one?
I like that one.
Yeah, look at your nice finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see that nice crisp click?
Yep.
That's usually a sign of a good shot. I mean, and again, you said you were more visual, but you kind of hear it.
Yep.
And I don't know if you
Definitely.
realized it, but when you finished, you'd really good impact position.
Cool.
It's good.
Nice.
All right, now, different distances.
Okay.
Options. You can increase the size of the stroke, okay?
Yep.
Or change your club.
Okay.
And you got to be careful, again, it's based on your lie, where the ball is. But we really don't want to get much higher than this, okay? Because again, we're just too close to our
Sure.
target.
Right.
You saw when you tossed the ball, you didn't need much to get it there.
Right.
So this will give you a little bit less loft,
Okay.
okay? More roll. What I like about the pitching wedge is you can kind of see that nice loft roll. Sometimes it doesn't look as prettier. It looks as pretty with this club,
Okay.
or less lofted club, so to
Yep.
say. But you can chip with any club you want.
Okay.
5-iron, 6-iron. Don't get, if you have a favorite club like your 8-iron, try it, okay? And don't get discouraged because it just takes a little practice getting used to it.
Okay.
So basically, this is going to just roll more, so you don't really have to drop it as far.
Okay.
So let's change clubs,
Okay.
and let's talk about a little bit about the clubs here and the drop area, so to say. So, a good thing to do is think of a wedge as 50-50.
Okay.
Okay, 50% air, 50% roll. Your 7, your lesser irons, more of a third. Third air, 2/3 roll.
Okay.
So here's the difference, okay? And why don't you come over here? So if this was a wedge, okay, they call it like a drop area, where you want to drop it, and that's exactly where you tossed it and dropped it.
Right.
So if I'm doing my practice stroke, don't look at your target right away. Look at where you want to drop it. That's
Okay.
why the pros are so good, okay? They're looking at that coin, or they're picking something in the green, and they're looking there and they're doing their practice stroke. So look how big it is for the wedge.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, if I change clubs, and I went to 7-iron, it's okay. My practice stroke, I'm now looking here, okay? And look at the difference in my practice stroke.
Right.
Yeah, less room for error. So when you go, well, can I putt it from here? Sure, you can putt it from here. As long as you have a good lie, and it's nice and short and tight, okay? Always putt. Why? Shorter stroke, less room for error.
Right. Okay.
Here you can see though, it's chewed up from the winter.
Yep.
Okay? So you're gonna have to pop it and roll it. You couldn't putt over that because you wouldn't know where the ball would go.
Sure.
But don't be afraid, like in Florida, a lot of times they have false fronts, okay? And those false fronts are really tight lies. Putt them,
Okay.
because you're gonna feel comfortable with it.
Yep.
So let's come on back here.
Okay.
Let's switch, we have the 7-iron.
Yep.
And let's now look at that drop area. And the last thing I want you to do, so I want you to take a couple practice strokes, look here. And the last thing I want you to do is look at the target.
Okay.
And that's just to kind of relax you.
Okay.
And the reason I'm having you do that, just don't get ball oriented. You want to get the ball in the hole.
Okay.
I don't care how it gets there. Let me just clean it out here. Yeah. I want to get right in that circle. What'd you think?
Pretty close.
Yeah. What about form? Let's say if you had to rate that form, how would you rate that? Did you feel like you went back and forward? Did you feel like you stopped?
I think I definitely came a little short on my follow through again.
Okay.
But I started the follow through and then I stopped because I'm not really sure why. Like that was just my first try, so I'm not
Yeah.
really sure. On
Okay.
a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it maybe a 6 or a 7.
Okay.
So I've definitely room for improvement, but I felt like, I had the general idea, like it hit right around that
Yeah,
target.
look at your
and
result.
It got almost there.
Right.
So,
that the reason why I was asking you that is because if you're going to not be perfect, and you won't be perfect because none of us are perfect,
right.
your miss is going to be better with a 7-iron.
Okay.
Because again, if you
That makes sense.
okay, does it make sense?
Totally.
Good.
Yep.
And that's again just thought. Let's try another one. That was good.
Okay.
How do you feel about standing a little bit taller?
You
like
know what
it?
I forgot to do? I forgot to put my weight a little bit forward too
Okay.
on that one. I
Okay.
just realized
Don't put
that.
too much.
No, I know, but
Okay.
I totally forgot to
Okay.
even think about it. So,
How do you feel about standing? Because remember, you tend to be like this. How do you feel about more over it?
all right.
Do you feel comfortable with
Is
it?
that better?
Well, do you feel comfortable with it?
I mean, I feel like everything in golf you get comfortable with if
Okay.
you're doing it right.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
it never feels comfortable the first time, but eventually I can make it work.
I think it's good. So you can look here when you do your practice stroke.
Okay.
last thing, just look at your target. Oh, don't say ah yet. There's your miss. That's what I'm saying about misses.
Right. Yep, totally.
That's one putt in.
Yep.
Good.
Makes sense.
All right.
You're right, it doesn't really look all that pretty though.
No, it doesn't. Now, let's go in a little shorter grass here.
Okay.
And again, we can't putt because we have this area that's a little bit, again, winter kill. And let's try, I'm gonna grab your 6-iron.
Okay.
And let's just play around with that 6-iron.
So 6, I'm even aiming a little bit. No, I'm aiming. Wait, don't tell me.
I'm not going to.
I'm aiming a little bit closer to me.
Yeah.
Than the 7. Okay.
Yeah. So you're probably still right about here.
Pretty close.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not much of a difference, but notice that again, shorter grass.
Yep.
So a little bit easier club to use into the shorter grass. We're minimizing the stroke again, making it small.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Hole in one.
So okay, and I'm being
It's a
honest.
little too fast.
I'm being honest, but not great.
I know.
Okay, no, but here's the thing. There's your result. No, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to be nervous. Yeah, there's your result.
Yeah.
So basically, the last 2 we've gotten in the circle.
Right.
Good. So I like it. Let's try another one, but let me just clear out the circle.
Oh my.
Okay. Great stroke. Just got to take a little shorter stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now you said your short-term goal was basically to understand the setup.
Yeah.
Your long-term goal was to be more consistent.
Yep.
So let's go back to your short-term goal. Let's grab 5 balls.
Okay.
And
I like already that I have a routine. Like I'm thinking about each step before I actually hit the ball.
good.
So that's helpful to like. I'm good at that. Like when somebody gives me like a few steps to follow
Right.
and to do over and over and over again.
Right. Well, it's teacher in you, right? Yeah. Well, it is.
Totally.
But it's also too repetition.
Yep.
That's golf.
Yep.
That's why when I asked if you practice, that's how you build repetition.
Right.
And we're all guilty of it.
Right.
This is something you can practice in your backyard. You go to the gym, you can just kind of, like I told you, that you can kind of just work on your stroke and just look at your finish. You can mirror yourself to see if you're standing too far back, or too far down, maybe stand up a little taller.
Yeah.
So you can use a mirror, because again, you're visual.
Okay.
And I know you go to the gym every now and then, so it's a good time to take a club with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have 5 balls.
Okay.
Now, if you have any club choice you want, and I'm not here to, if you want to use your wedge, you can use any club you want, but I want to try to get, I'm going to say, what would you like to be your short-term goal? How many out of 5?
I think that well, I know that you'll say that I should only aim for 2, but I would like at least 3.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'd like to go with the 7.
Sure.
Not the 6.
Yeah.
The pitching wedge, I is my go-to, so I'm going to get out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Okay, good. All right, so you're going to say 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
All right, I would say 2 out of 5.
I know.
But let's see what we got. That's why I'm here. You did 3 out of 5. Now let's also make it more real. Take these away.
Okay.
But when you're practicing, use them.
Yeah.
Now you can just kind of pick maybe, I don't know, there's a clover here. Try to find something, I know this isn't in the target line, but like a leaf, something in your line.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And I think what we should do is,
I'm going to,
go ahead.
I was going to say whether the club is there or not, I'm going to do the part where I get behind my ball and line it up just because it's part of my routine anyway when I hit any ball.
Yeah, okay,
So-
good.
But
So I'm gonna, I'll leave this down just for here.
thanks.
Okay, let's get into your routine.
Okay. Excuse me.
So we're trying for 3 out of 5. check a couple things here. Good. Okay. I like it. How'd you like it?
I liked it.
I like your routine.
Thank you.
Two out of five. Or two so far at two.
Should we make a bet here?
I don't know. I don't want to go to gambler's school. All right, let's see if we can get three out of three. Well done. Oh, two left.
Choked a little.
That's all right. There's your miss.
All right.
And again, there's something to think about is one putt, you get out of that circle, so to say. Talk about two putts. Okay, so again, chipping is important to reduce your score, especially, you know, if you want to knock some putts off your game. Okay, that's all right. Got one more here.
All right.
But again, there's your miss, so to say.
No,
You're on
that's
the
not a good
green.
miss.
No, you're on the green, which is good. Remember, look at where you want to drop it.
Yep.
Good. Okay, stubbed it a little maybe.
I didn't follow through. Not
Okay,
one either.
okay, so 2 out of 5 is great. It's really good. All right, so what I'd like to do is just kind of recap it for you, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. Again, it's a putting stroke. Another great thing, just take a club, put it underneath your arms, and just rock your shoulders.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And again, just like a grandfather clock or an elephant trunk, one piece,
Yep.
okay, no hands. The other thing is grip. You can vary, mainly thumb on top of thumb. Distance has two ways of getting different distances. One is change your club or increase the size of the stroke. Okay, whatever you're more comfortable. I think you're going to see that again. If you change your club when you can, it again depends on your lie. You'll find it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just focus on a good setup and good routine. Relax. How was your grip pressure?
I think it was pretty good.
It looked good. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked.
It
looked
didn't.
good.
I don't feel like any stress or tenseness in my fingers right now. Like when I'm really like tense or nervous about
Okay.
hitting, I definitely squeeze hard and I can feel it afterwards.
Okay.
So I think I was okay.
Good. And I suggest when you go out and play, just kind of keep track of your chipping, like where you leave it, and then how many putts you have afterwards. And
Okay.
just try to set your long-term goal, maybe by the end of the season, set a goal that you think is obtainable. What about, do you have any questions for me?
So I guess my only question would be like, when do you go from a chip to a pitch?
Okay. If you were further back, you'd use a pitch shot because
Okay.
you have to carry what? Carry it onto the green.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So if you're further back, you do a little pitch shot. Usually it's
Okay.
around anywhere from 20, 30, 40 yards.
Gotcha.
Thick
Okay.
grass.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty far. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Good job.
Thank you.